happy Easter. We're here with our first guest. Mister! Say hi, Mister! Hey guys, we're back. We're just gonna kind of keep following Mister. Mister has a stuffed animal, which I don't know if you can see him from here, but I'll throw in some clips, that he loves to stare at all day. So he might have his back toward you for the video. He might come up stuck on the glass. He might go stuck on a rock. He might go play with his bubbles. We'll move around to follow Mister. But if this is what he wants to do, I'm not going to stop him. So let's start. Let's get to know Mister Hazelnut. This is Mister Hazelnut, my 2'5", 10-pound Plecostomus. He is turning 10 years old in June. And I've had him since he was 8. Mr. Hazelnut's birthday, June 12th, the day I brought him home, was the best day ever. He's the cutest boy. We got him home. I got him from a friend's mom in Queens. We put him in a not a travel bucket, a bin, like you maybe put in your attic. Like a 3-foot tall, 5-foot long bin. Filled it up with water and brought him home. Put him in a tank, and now we've been upgrading ever since. This is a 150-gallon tank, and hopefully we can get him in a 300 one day. He is expected to max out at 3 feet long, so if he needs it, great, but right now he's doing amazing. So let's start. The Plecostomus, also known as the suckermouth or bottom feeder, is a tropical freshwater fish belonging to the armored catfish family. Named that for their longitudinal rows of armor-like scutes that cover the upper parts of the head and body. This is easily seen up close or above Mr. Hazelnut's back. So I might throw in some clips, but if you come close, Mr. Hazelnut's back. So if you come really, really close, Mr. Hazelnut's back is actually sharp and armored like I said. It's not scaly like a fish, but it's hard like sandpaper or a heavy rock you would find inside the ocean or even on the mountains. How big can Mr. Hazelnut get? Are estimated between 3 to 20 inches. Mr. Hazelnut, though, is estimated to max about 3 feet long, which comparably is like the size of a small dog. He is already 2'5". So, how to take care of Mr. Hazelnut? Their water parameters are similar to tropical fish. Their heated aquarium should be around 74 to 80 degrees and live in a broad pH of 6.5 to 7.8. Mr. Hazelnut's tank sits at a pH of 6.5, and his tank should be about maybe like 82 degrees right now. Let's see. Mr. Hazelnut's tank is at 80 degrees. Perfect, because that is his max. So, what does Mr. eat? Mr. Hazelnut is fed 4 algae wafers a day, at night. His tank is often refilled with plants. Half filled with plants he is not interested in eating, and the other half with food he can play with, eat, suck on, whatever he wants to do. As seen right over here by me. We just put in another plant, and he will go through them like nobody's business. So, Plecos graze along the submerged log. The surface of the submerged logs, so these big rocks that have some logs over here, he loves to suck on them with his mouth. He gets a lot of nutrients from that. He likes eating the biofilm off of what grows onto it, and along with the wood fiber on the log itself. So Mr. Hazelnut loves his rocks and wood logs. You'll often see him sucking on the pebbles and the glass when algae grows. But Mr. Hazelnut's tank does have a device that I call UV light that kills bad bacteria, but which is also killing algae. But reviewed by his vet, this is the best decision for him. Mr. Hazelnut's very large, and I believe no fish deserves to live in a tank this size, but Mr. Hazelnut cannot survive in New York or any states along us. So Mr. Hazelnut does have to stay in a tank, and for right now, killing the bad bacteria is the best thing for him. If he's too big in a small tank, he creates a lot of bad bacteria coming off of him, which can make him get sick. So we do have to kill the bad bacteria, but he does get the biofilm off the logs. He gets a lot of nutrients from his algae wafers. Plecos are omnivores. So you can also feed them meat, shrimp, bloodworms, as well as vegetables like zucchini and kale. Mr. Hazelnut's not very interested in these. I have tried to feed him before. He is turning 10, he's 9 years old, and the vet says it may be because of his age, he's not very interested, he's never had these before, it's not something he's used to. Could just be preference. He's not the type of fish that gets hand-fed. I don't put these in and he starts sucking them off my hand. It's just his preference. He also may be hiding a bit more because I turned on his light. Mr. Hazelnut is a nighttime fish. He likes to hide inside of things, dig himself under the gravel. He's not a light boy, but we do have these lights on. We don't have the camera lights on, but we do have his tank lights, which could be why he's being a little shy. He's being a butt boy. So, he doesn't really have interest in like human food, so we do stick with the algae wafers, and I'm not very interested in forcing him into it. He's shown he's not into it. I don't like playing with the quality of his water by putting these foods inside. So the possibility of interest might just be lost. Bloodworms though, he can eat, and I do swear by those for my smaller fish, which you'll see clips of them eating, like my silver dollars. It's bite-sized for them, but they grow to about 5 inches. So anything bite-sized for Mr. Hazelnut is imagining a bite-size for your dog. I don't know if when Mr. Hazelnut eats them is because he likes them or because he just he's sucking in with his mouth. So just in case he's not interested, I just don't put them in. But he does get more than enough nutrients from his algae wafers. Also, the bloodworms may break down before he even finds them. He's not one to put his food in and runs for his cookies, I call them. So the bloodworms will break down and basically not even be something to eat by the time he finds them. Mr. Hazelnut breathes. He sort of does. Mr. Hazelnut comes up for the roof here where the air and the water meet, and he comes in to take a breath of air. Very rarely. He stores this air in his belly so that he can live outside the water for up to 20 hours. This is a survival mechanism, but also just something that they can do if choose be. As you can see, he's a lot of bubbles. Fish do need oxygen. And not only does he love bubbles as a toy, but this is enough oxygen for him to also not desperately go up for air. If you have a pleco who is often going up for air, do seek help from a vet. This is a sign of a sick pleco. They do come up for air to store them in their belly. They do not do it when they are healthy though, constantly. So be aware of that. Will Mr. Hazelnut eat a small fish? Why is he alone? Mr. Hazelnut will not eat fish. He's not hunting for a healthy fish. I didn't even see him go. Mr. Hazelnut does not hunt for healthy fish.
You're the best co-star ever. I love you. You're a sweet, sweet boy.
Back over here because Mr. did move. Just to get our co-star in the shot. Mr. Hazelnut will not eat fish. So he is a bottom feeder, which means he will eat anything on the bottom in the gravel. Any buildup, he'll eat food, leftover food. If there is a dead fish, he may eat it. That is what bottom feeders do. They just eat whatever's on the ground, really. Mr. Hazelnut does not share a tank because of his size. He is not lonely. This is approved by the vet. He has always lived slightly alone. We don't need to go into his backstory, but Mr. Hazelnut has lived the past 2 years alone with me. He does not need a buddy to feel comfortable. He does love his stuffed animal. No, this is not a sign of loneliness. It's just a sign of interest. He likes a stuffed animal. The vet thinks he just thinks it's pretty. Maybe he has a little crush on it. If he was scared of the stuffed animal, his dorsal, which is his top fin, would be risen up, which I can show what that looks like in a little clip or a picture. That shows excitement, scared, intimidation, but he loves this thing. He's constantly in the corner looking at her. So I think it is a sign of comfort. Mr. Hazelnut is alone for the tank size because, like I said, I don't believe any animal this size should be in a tank. I think he should be out living his life tropically, but he will not survive any states nearby or in this state. He will not survive in the wild on his own. He is worked on and checked in by the vet. He did have some big health concerns when I did find him. So he needs to kind of be on a watch. He's very, very healthy now, and we maintain to keep him a healthy lifestyle. So Mr. Hazelnut will be staying here, and he is fine by himself. He does not care. And if anything, he knows he's not alone because I'm constantly coming in the room going, Mister, my baby! And I don't think you can feel too lonely with that constantly in your ear. How do you know if Mr. Hazelnut's sick? Easy with his sassy personality. Any fish, you get to know them, they have personality. No matter how little your fish has a personality. Mr. Hazelnut is always giving the butt. I find him to be very sassy. You know something is wrong with your fish because it's like an instinct. Like you see that they're doing something they do not normally do. For example, if Mr. Hazelnut was just sitting in the same spot all day and didn't once check on his girlfriend or once come up to suck on this glass, I would find something's wrong. Mr. Hazelnut, because of his size, is a little easier to spot these physical traits that I'm going to tell you, but in small fish, you will definitely be able to see them cues. These are loud signs of a fish being sick. For example, a pleco will show signs of stress when their eyes become cloudy. This is like temporary blindness. This means they're sick. Their coloring. Mr. Hazelnut has a normal coloring of black with like lines of yellow. If Mr. Hazelnut was sick, he would be mostly yellow. He would have lost his pattern and he would not be dark. Mr. Hazelnut would be sick if he was coming up for lots of air or was hiding like in irregular places. Swimming erratically. Mr. Hazelnut does not like when poop touches him. So if poop touches him, he will swim really far away from it and sometimes hit his head on the glass. If Mr. Hazelnut was doing that, number one, the poop was cleaned, there's no poop, or he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, that is something you need to notice in your fish. If they are swimming erratically or cannot control their body swimming, like they are almost floating, your fish is sick. A pleco can get sick from poor water quality, like elevated ammonia, or the water pH fluctuating. This is not good. A fish needs stability. A fish needs the same water. Mr. Hazelnut does not get often water changes. I replaced the water that evaporates. You do not want to be taking out water unless it is bad water. You want to be reusing a lot of the same water as long as your fish is reacting well to that. So, is a pleco a beginner fish? No. Mr. Hazelnut? No. A little pleco, like a bristlenose? Absolutely. Plecos are fairly simple. You throw them in a cookie and they're good. You give them some hiding spots. You turn off the light for them. You don't want more than one pleco in the tank. You want other community fish. They are not fighters. They are just suckers on the ground. Give them some hiding spots, have the correct food for them, make sure it's not too bright, and have friendly fish. A pleco is a great starter. Mr. Hazelnut specifically is not. If you have the money, the time, the passion, Mr. Hazelnut could be for you. Do I think that we should be selling fish that grow to this size? Absolutely not. I do not find it flattering when I get messages from people saying they got a Mr. Hazelnut. I do not find it cute when people are asking me a million questions. I do not think this is a fish you should go out of your way to get, especially the people who tell me, well, how do I know mine's gonna get that big? When I tell them you're going to need a tank this size at the minimum. Mr. Hazelnut is abnormally large. Vet approved, he's okay. He has a huge belly, and obviously he is very large. If you cannot keep up with this fish, you should not have the fish. My belief, you can fight me on it, but I think it's just common animal care. You don't want to get a big dog and live in this tiny apartment that you can't take him outside. Mr. Hazelnut-sized fish need a place to live. They do need a lot of upkeep. They need a lot of care. They cost a lot of money. And you need to love. You do not want to look at fish as something that's brainless or have no feelings. You will see that in a fish this size, that they are like people. And they feel, they hurt, they get hungry, they see you, they hear you. If you want, I would say it's a challenge, but if you want the life of keeping up with a fish like this, then so do it. They're in the stores anyways, unfortunately, but I would not go out of your way. This is not something you can commit to. Once you get a pleco, I don't think you can bring them back because they get so big. Once he gets big, the owner who had him before could not bring him back. So this is why Mr. Hazelnut came to me. And no, if you get one and you need to change your mind, I do not want it. Just letting you know. I get that a lot. How do you know Mister is a Mister? We don't. We went over this with the vet. We've went over this in many Google searches. A pleco, a female pleco is rounder. A male pleco is bigger. Mr. Hazelnut, regardless of being rounder or bigger, number one, he is big. Number two, his belly is abnormally round. So he could go either way. The only way we would really know is if we put another pleco that is a male next to him and a pleco that is a female next to him that are the same age and around the same size to know the difference, which is just by comparison. There's no part to figure this out. So we don't know, but the vet says it's safe to say to keep calling him Mr. Hazelnut. So Mr. Hazelnut has a vet? Yes, Mr. Hazelnut's a private vet with personal appointments catered to his specific health and story of how I met him. His vet is specialized in fish and can even perform surgeries on fish as small as tetras. Those would be about ½ an inch big. So, wait, Mr. Hazelnut will live to 25? Yeah, Mr. Hazelnut is a pleco that lives a long life. With his treatment, diet, care, schedule, the vet does predict that he will live another 14 years, which makes him around 24, 25, 26, and I will be about 38. So Mr. Hazelnut will be meeting all my children. Let's talk about Mr. Hazelnut's vet. Mr. Hazelnut's vet has been certified as CERTA AQU by the World Aquatic Veterinary Medical Association. He has been caring for domestic and exotic pets since 1976, and his fish hospital started in 1998. Born and raised in New York City, his vet went to Europe to study veterinary medicine. He has served as treasurer of the International Association of Aquatic Animal Medicine, an officer on the executive board of the World Aquatic Veterinary Medical Association, and as a member of the Association of Reptile and Amphibian Veterinarians, Association of Avian Veterinarians, and the AUMA and state and local veterinary associations. In 2012, he was named one of the 5 fellows of the World Aquatic Veterinary Medical Association. I really love Mr. Hazelnut's vet. So do I ever recommend a Mr. Hazelnut? If I haven't said it enough, no. I do not recommend anyone gets a Mr. Hazelnut. If you are a fish person who loves fish, these are not pets, these are your family, of course I recommend any fish to you. I just do not recommend them to people who think it's cool to have a large pet. And you can think that and be a good fish person. That's totally fine. But people who just think it's cool to say they have one, you do need to, there's a lot of math and science behind a Mr. Hazelnut. There's a lot of working with the ammonia, alkalinity, pH, nitrate, nitrate, and you have to know what'll balance it, unbalance it, how to fix that, your own preference. I go in the most natural route for Mr. Hazelnut when it comes to fixing these water issues. You need to do the math on the heaters, the time of year, how much, if you give your fish medication, how much can you give? You need a hospital tank. You cannot put their medication in a tank with other fish. I don't recommend it even if there's one. You need to know what you want to put in the filter. His filter has biofilm, sponges, and other beneficial things to his bacteria. You need to always be checking the temperature. You need to know how your fish caters. Mr. Hazelnut has soft pebbles, sand is recommended, but he will swallow a lot of sand, so I do not put sand in. You want to get to know what is beneficial to them, and you want to get to know their schedule. Do I recommend it, Mr. Hazelnut? No. Am I going to stop you? Absolutely not. Disclaimer, I do believe it should be illegal for plecos to be sold. The way they are sold is horrific. If you want to get into that, you can look into it. I don't want to talk about it around my baby boy. I do not like the way they're sold. I do not like the way they were sold to people without proof of proper care, and I don't like that it is sold to people who buy plecos for the sake of them. I don't think it's right, and I think that that should be stopped worldwide. So, can Mister go in a pond? Yes, if large and warm enough. That gives me a lot of anxiety. I will not move Mister from a tank to a pond, I think, ever. The temperature outside, things getting into the pond, it's not for me. Can Mister go in a pond? Absolutely. So, how expensive is Mr. Hazelnut? I can promise you, in my about to be 2 years with Mr. Hazelnut, buying the tank, paying for the vet visits, water conditioner, food, plants, biofilm for his filter, new filters, bubblers that he breaks at least once a week, the gravel, the tank stand, the multiple tank upgrades, anything. Mr. Hazelnut has probably, at a minimum, cost me at least $5,000 in these past almost 2 years. I get that question a lot, so I figured I'd throw it in there. Should this stop you from having a Mister? If you feel so drawn to get one, no. Just make sure, you know, he's fed and taken care of. And that is my #1 priority with Mr. Hazelnut, to make sure he is a priority. He's basically my child. So yes, Mr. Hazelnut comes at a cost. But is he worth it? Absolutely. I love him so much. And I know you do if you clicked on this video. I got one request for this, but I've had other people tell me that I should talk about Mister. He is our first official guest star and the very best and cutest one you'll ever see. I mean that face. So I hate to bother him again. I will bother him one more time so we can have a little moment of the guest star.
Mister, my sweetheart.
Thanks guys for watching. Thanks for loving Mister so much. I hope to see you guys on my socials. I'm doing a 100 follower special on my Instagram. All you have to do is follow, post on your story, and leave comments. There's bonus entries. And once I hit 100 followers, the winner, picked at random on a wheelboard, will be chosen to pick any episode topic that they want, as long as it's not offensive or discriminatory. So yeah, if you want to go join that, go for it. As always, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, this YouTube. I'll see you there. Always linked. Goodbye from me and Mister, whose light is already off. He's over it. Say bye.